Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're jumping right into something that's just exploded. I mean, it's all over social media, especially TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this trend called high maintenance to be low maintenance beauty.
Oh, yeah, you really can't miss it.
Exactly. If you've been online at all, you've seen it. The hashtag's got, what, over 150 million views? Huge.
It is, and you see all these influencers, beauty fans showing off these really extensive routines.
Yeah, like builder gel manicures.
Yeah,
That's the strong gel stuff, right? Lasts for weeks.
that's the one. Strong, durable, plus things like Botox, laser hair removal, all presented as leading to this effortless look.
Right. Effortless. That's the key word.
Yeah, and the appeal, I mean, it's powerful, isn't it? The whole idea is that you invest, quite heavily up front in these professional treatments, and that somehow saves you precious time and energy down the road.
So ditch the daily grind. Like no more shaving your legs every day or waiting for nail polish to dry.
Precisely. Stop the daily chores. No more frantic plucking, waiting around. The goal is this effortlessly beautiful state, always looking put together.
The dream. Just wake up ready.
It's positioned as the ultimate beauty hack. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, basically.
Okay, it sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want that?
Mm-hmm.
But here's where we start our deep dive.
Right.
Right? Is this really a shortcut? Is it genuinely making life easier? Or, like some of the stuff we've read suggests, is it maybe part of a bigger beauty scam?
That's the core question.
Yeah. What are the hidden costs here?
Mhm.
And I don't just mean money, though that's huge, but what else? What societal pressures are really, driving this whole thing?
Well, that's our mission today, isn't it? We're going to sift through a whole stack of insights. We've got studies, personal stories, even some history.
Okay.
We want to unpack all the nuances of modern beauty maintenance, maybe reveal some surprising facts.
Yeah, things that might make you rethink your own routine.
Exactly. And hopefully help you, the listener, get really well informed on this topic because it's everywhere and it can feel pretty overwhelming.
Definitely. So let's dive in. Where should we start?
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
defining high maintenance. Because the term itself has shifted, hasn't it?
It really has. If you look at, say, the Collins Dictionary, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It defines it as something or someone which requires a lot of attention, time, money, and effort. Pretty neutral.
Just factual. Lots of input needed.
Yeah, fundamentally. But then you look at how it's often used, especially talking about women and beauty,
Right.
and it takes on this negative edge, like Urban Dictionary. It describes a high-maintenance woman as needing way more than average services: hair, nails, skincare, the latest trends, designer stuff, loads of attention.
There's a judgment there, isn't there? Like it's excessive, maybe superficial.
Totally. That's often the implication, which is interesting because on TikTok,
Yeah.
you see creators kind of flipping it. They're almost reclaiming the phrase.
Oh.
They'll say something like, yeah, I'm high maintenance, proud of it, because being high maintenance now lets me be low maintenance later.
Ah, okay. I see the twist.
But then they show these incredibly extensive, often really expensive routines.
So they're embracing the label, but still doing all the things that label used to criticize.
Kind of, yeah. It's like a badge of honor now, but tied to the same kind of intense effort. It's a clever reframing, you have to admit.
It is clever. But before we get into the downsides, it's probably fair to say there can be benefits to these routines, right? It's not all bad.
Oh, absolutely. While the term might have negative baggage, there's actual evidence that beauty routines can be good for you mentally, emotionally.
Like how?
Well, a 2023 study, for instance, found that just having a consistent skincare routine can genuinely help people relax, feel more positive. It's the ritual, the self-focus.
So it's not just vanity. It can be about the process itself.
Exactly. And this isn't new either. We need to remember that.
What do you mean?
Well, fashion historian Suzanne Shapiro makes this point. Self-adornment, decorating ourselves, has been a huge part of cultures for centuries. Think elaborate hair, tattoos, makeup. It's always been there.
Right. It's human nature in a way.
Mm-hmm. And Shapiro notes that specifically after World War I, when women became much more visible in public life, in the workforce,
Yeah.
investing in your appearance actually became like a sign of self-respect and sophistication. It was about how you presented yourself to this wider world.
Interesting. A way of claiming space, almost.
You could see it that way. And she also talks about the lipstick effect.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. During tough economic times.
Exactly, like the Great Depression. The theory is people spend more on small, affordable luxuries like cosmetics.
A little pick-me-up.
Precisely. Shapiro calls them treasured rituals. They offered a bit of control, a sense of normalcy when everything else felt chaotic. So this link between looking a certain way, even with minimal effort, and feeling okay inside, it's deep-rooted.
Okay, so history, psychology, it's complex. But let's zoom back into this specific trend, the high maintenance to be low maintenance one. How is it different from just general grooming or historical stuff? What's the core pitch now?
The key differentiator, I think, is the heavy emphasis on professional, often semi-permanent treatments as the main strategy.
Okay, so not just DIY stuff.
Right, we're talking builder gel nails, dermaplaning facials, laser hair removal, professional teeth whitening, and then the bigger guns like Botox, fillers.
Injectables, yeah.
The whole philosophy is that these specific interventions are investments that pay off by saving you time and effort every single day.
It's that stay ready or get ready idea you mentioned.
Exactly. As one influencer put it, the goal is being never caught slipping, always looking polished, basically, without the visible daily effort.
That's the promise. Sounds great on paper.
Yeah.
But does it hold up?
Mhm.
This is where the low maintenance part starts to look a bit shaky, right?
This is exactly where it gets questionable, even misleading, frankly.
Why? Are these treatments not actually permanent?
Many of the most popular ones, no way, far from it. Take laser hair removal or IPL that's intense pulsed light.
Yeah, the light thingy?
Right. People think it's like, zap, hair gone forever, one and done.
But it's not.
Not even close. Usually you need a series of sessions to start, maybe 6, maybe 8, and then you need regular top-ups, often indefinite.
So it's an ongoing thing. Like forever.
Pretty much. It's expensive, ongoing maintenance, not a one-time fix. Your hair doesn't just vanish permanently after a few goes.
Okay, that's a big crack in the low maintenance promise already.
Mhm.
And what about the hassle around the treatments?
Good point. These supposedly time-saving treatments often demand their own kind of upkeep, hidden prep work.
Like what?
Well, for laser, you usually can't pluck, thread, or wax for weeks before. The laser needs the hair follicle intact. You also have to religiously avoid sun exposure before and after to prevent skin damage or hyperpigmentation. Big commitment.
Yeah, especially if you live somewhere sunny.
And you might even need to stop using certain skincare products, like strong retinoids or acids, to avoid irritation.
So the maintenance just shifts, doesn't it? From daily stuff to managing appointments and following all these rules.
Exactly. It's a different kind of effort, but it's definitely still effort. It's not just magically effortless.
Which brings us to Botox.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, preventative Botox.
Hmm?
That's huge in this trend, especially with younger people.
Mm-hmm. Very popular. The idea being get it early, freeze the muscles, stop wrinkles before they even start.
Sounds logical, maybe.
Well, that's the pitch. But there are experts, like Dr. Stephen Harris, an award-winning aesthetic doctor,
Okay.
who's been pretty outspoken. He calls preventative Botox a myth, even potentially a money-making scheme.
Wow, money-making scheme. That's pretty blunt. Is that a common view among doctors? Or is he an outlier?
It's definitely causing debate, but his view is gaining ground, especially among doctors focused on solid evidence.
So what's his argument?
He argues there's just no convincing scientific proof that getting Botox purely preventatively, like before lines are really there, actually stops those lines from forming in the long run.
But Botox does smooth wrinkles, right? Temporarily.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It works very well on existing dynamic wrinkles, the ones from movement, like frown lines. Relaxes the muscle, smooths the skin for a few months.
Okay.
But the idea of preventing future lines by starting super early, there's just no solid science backing that up as a long-term strategy.
So you might be paying all this money for what exactly?
Potentially, for something with no proven long-term preventative effect. It's a temporary fix, a pause button for existing lines, not a guaranteed prevention of future ones.
That means people could be spending thousands over years on something that might not even be doing what they think it's doing.
Exactly, setting themselves up for this cycle of needing more, thinking it's preventing something, when maybe it isn't. It's a huge financial drain based on a potentially flawed premise.
That's powerful. So, okay, the effectiveness is questionable for some of this stuff, especially the preventative angle.
Right.
Let's talk costs, the actual money. Because this stuff isn't cheap.
Not even remotely cheap. The financial side is staggering, honestly.
How staggering are we talking?
Well, look at the whole beauty industry globally. It's worth something like $528.6 billion. Billion, with a B.
That's almost unbelievable. like a country's GDP.
Pretty much. And just skincare within that, $131 billion in 2022. And it's still growing fast. This is a massive economic engine.
Built on us buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel it in your wallet, don't you?
Yeah.
Prices just keep going up.
They really do. Think about the average American woman. Estimates suggest she spends around $1,700 a year just on makeup, skincare, hair stuff.
Yeah.
Basics.
And that's before any fancy treatments. That could be like, what, a couple of serums, haircuts, maybe a few manicures.
Yeah, everyday things. And inflation's hitting hard. We saw examples like shampoo jumping from $21 to $32 post-pandemic.
Yep.
Drugstore foundation, once a budget option, now often over $20.
The baseline cost is rising.
Definitely. And then you add in the professional treatments, the core of this high maintenance to be low maintenance trend. And the costs just explode. A single Botox session can easily be $400, maybe more. Filler, up to $500 per milliliter.
Per milliliter, wow.
And remember, these aren't one-offs. Like we said, laser injectables.
Yeah.
They need constant upkeep, every few months usually.
So the meter's just constantly running. It adds up incredibly fast.
Incredibly fast. There was a UK survey. Pretty shocking results. It found some women spending £1,000, that's roughly $1,250 per month on treatments.
Per month, not per year.
Per month. Breaking it down, it was like $190, $200 on nails, another $190, $380 on hair, a whopping $500, $600 on aesthetics like injectables or facials, plus another $250, $300 on other bits and pieces.
That's more than rent for a lot of people, just on beauty maintenance.
It's a huge chunk of income, and inevitably this leads to debt for some people. Real financial trouble.
Yeah, you mentioned anecdotes.
Right. We read about Shelley, who ended up with 2,300 pounds, almost $3,000 US in credit card debt, just from Botox. She talked about feeling trapped, chasing this look.
God, that's awful.
And another woman, Michelle, kept getting Botox even when she was living in her overdraft, sacrificing other things, basic clothes, dyeing her own hair just to keep up the treatments.
It shows how much pressure there is, doesn't it?
Oh,
To
see.
prioritize appearance over even financial stability.
It really does. And what's worrying is how normalized these costs become. You even see websites,
Yeah.
often run by the clinics themselves, offering advice on how to budget for Botox, like it's a utility bill or groceries.
Like it's just a normal, necessary expense you have to fit in. That's kind of perverse.
It really frames it as a non-negotiable, doesn't it, instead of a luxury choice.
Okay, so the money cost is huge. What about time? The trend promises to save time, right? Less daily faff.
That's the promise. Less daily faff, as you say.
But does it? I mean, you still have to book the appointments, get there, sit through them, nails, lashes, facials, tanning.
Yeah.
That all takes time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It consumes a significant recurring chunk of time. It's not magic. You're basically outsourcing the labor, but you still have to show up, invest your hours.
Right. You might not be painting your own nails, but you're spending, what, 2 hours at the salon plus travel.
Exactly. Compare that to just doing it yourself at home or, just letting your nails be natural. That's an investment of time, sure, but not money in the same way.
And for people whose time is money entrepreneurs, busy professionals,
Yeah.
those hours in the salon chair are a real opportunity cost.
Huge opportunity cost. Time you could be working, learning, exercising with family, or just relaxing in a way that doesn't cost hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it's finite that time. And this whole cycle, it sounds exhausting.
It can be. We heard people describe feeling trapped in a very expensive cycle.
Trapped how?
This constant low-level anxiety that the shiny new version of myself will fade if they miss an appointment. The low maintenance is only temporary, lasting only until the filler dissolves or the gel grows out.
So you're always chasing the next appointment to keep the illusion going.
Pretty much. The moment you stop, you're back to where you started, maybe feeling worse because you're used to the enhanced version. It's a treadmill.
A very expensive treadmill.
Mhm.
Okay, so if the cost is high, the time saving is debatable, the results aren't permanent.
Mm.
Why is this so popular? Why are people buying in?
Now we get to the really big forces at play. Media, societal pressure, who's setting these standards.
Right. It's not happening in a vacuum.
Not at all. And again, a little history helps. We talked about self-adornment being ancient,
Mm-hmm.
but things really shifted after World War I. Women's roles changed. They were more public.
And appearance became more important.
Yeah, it got tied up with self-respect, sophistication.
Yeah.
How you presented yourself mattered in this new public sphere.
And then the media really took over.
Absolutely. For decades, magazines, billboards, TV ads, they've pushed this very specific, often unattainable beauty ideal.
Usually thin, tall, white, right?
Overwhelmingly, yes. Very narrow, very homogenized, and it gets hammered into us constantly.
And the underlying message is,
It's often subtle, but the implication is, Beauty equals happiness. Beauty brings success, love, social benefits.
So it pushes people, especially women, to focus maybe too much on looks.
It certainly influences priorities. It suggests that physical attributes are paramount, sometimes over intelligence, kindness, skills. It subtly links appearance to your overall worth and life outcome.
And the media messages are often totally contradictory too, aren't they?
Oh, completely. Think women's magazines. You'll have ads for diet plans right next to ads for decadent desserts.
Yeah. Eat this, but also starve yourself.
It's this weird push-pull. Consume, but restrict. Be obsessed with food, but be impossibly thin. It keeps you perpetually insecure, off balance.
And therefore, buying more stuff.
Exactly. And the impact on actual body image is measurable and pretty scary.
How so?
There was this study back in 2003, University of Wisconsin Stout. Really simple setup.
Okay.
They showed female students just 120 seconds, 2 minutes of media images of women, compared them to a control group who didn't see the images.
And the results?
After just 2 minutes, the group who saw the images felt significantly less physically attractive and worse about their looks.
Wow. 2 minutes. That's incredibly fast.
It's profound. Interestingly, it wasn't that they suddenly hated specific body parts more. Their satisfaction with shape or weight didn't change significantly.
So it wasn't like, oh, I hate my nose now.
Apparently not. It was more of a general, overall feeling of being less attractive, feeling worse about their looks as a whole.
The generalized hit to self-esteem.
Exactly. It shows how these pervasive images can just lower your overall sense of attractiveness, contributing to negative body image, maybe even eating disorders.
And this fits with sociocultural theory, right? The idea that society, through media, family, peers, transmits these beauty standards.
Precisely. And when those standards are unattainable, it leads to body image problems. This feeling of never being thin enough, never pretty enough. It can spiral into self-hate, depression. You're always chasing something impossible.
And then layer on top of that, influencer culture.
Oh boy, yes. That has just amplified everything, hasn't it?
How?
Because now there's this expectation, almost a pressure, to share everything online. Your daily life, your face, first thing in the morning.
So the standard isn't just looking good for a party, it's looking good all the time.
Pretty much. Perpetual readiness. Always camera ready. It's exhausting.
And here's the kicker, right? Most influencers get this stuff for free.
This is a huge distortion, yes. They get treatments comped, PR packages overflowing with products, all in exchange for promotion.
So they create this illusion that spending thousands on beauty is normal, achievable.
Exactly. It makes it seem like everyone's doing it, like it's just part of life for the average person. But for most people, it's completely unaffordable without major sacrifices. It's a false reality.
And that drives overconsumption.
Massively. The industry constantly churns out new versions of everything. How many lip glosses or moisturizers do we really need?
Right. They all do pretty much the same thing.
But the marketing promises revolution. So people buy, try, end up with drawers full of barely used stuff.
And the environmental cost.
Yeah.
All that plastic.
It's huge. Only about 9% of plastic gets recycled. Most of that beauty packaging. Landfill or oceans. It's a cycle of desire, debt, and waste.
It's just, wow. The whole picture is quite bleak. It's clear there's a massive psychological toll here, too.
Oh, undeniably. The internal pressure can be intense.
Like obsessing over small things.
Yeah, like trying to get acne under control. Someone described it as becoming like a prayer each morning and night. It consumes your thoughts, your energy.
And this fuels beauty FOMO, fear of missing out.
Coupled with that pervasive idea of I deserve this, which gets used to justify spending money you maybe don't have on luxuries framed as self-care.
Ah, yes, the self-care trap again. It makes luxury seem like a necessity for well-being.
It does. And it taps into this deeper, complex idea of beauty as social currency.
Meaning?
The belief, often unspoken, that investing in your appearance is an investment in your social standing, your career prospects, social mobility.
Is there evidence for that?
Surprisingly, yes. One study found women who spent more on grooming got paid more. And interestingly, it wasn't necessarily linked to how attractive men found them.
Wait, really? So it wasn't about being hot?
Apparently, it was more about signaling conformity, showing you put in the effort, adhered to traditional gender expectations around appearance.
That's kind of depressing. Like an extra unpaid job just to compete. You're penalized if you don't do it.
It adds this invisible burden, yeah. And what's really insidious, something we touched on, is where a lot of this pressure actually comes from.
Not just the media or men.
Often the sharpest pressure comes from other women. It's been called woman-on-woman crime in this context.
That sounds harsh, but I can see it. How did that manifest?
It can be really explicit, like the expectation that girls should get their nails and toes done every 2 weeks.
Or else.
Or else you get judged. Called names: Dusty, a tramp, an old goat. Really cruel stuff.
Just for having natural nails.
Yeah. It's policing appearance within female circles, creating the cycle of judgment.
You mentioned an anecdote about bare nails.
Right. Someone told us a coworker was genuinely disgusted by their unpolished nails. Not just notice, disgusted.
That's wild. It shows how much the baseline has shifted. Natural is now unacceptable to some.
It's like a whole new layer of mandatory maintenance has been added. And then you have influencers pushing this naturally ugly narrative.
What's that?
They basically say, oh, I have to get all this work done, filler, Botox, whatever, because I'm just naturally ugly.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's so damaging. It frames extensive intervention as a necessity for some people, not a choice. It completely undermines self-acceptance.
And why do women put this pressure on each other? Is it jealousy or...
It's complex, but some suggest it's a cycle. Women who feel immense pressure themselves, maybe from their own mothers or families, they perpetuate it. Almost like, if I have to go through all this effort and expense, then so should you. Misery loves company, perhaps.
If I suffer, you suffer too. That's
yeah.
And all this normalizes extremes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The goalposts for baseline appearance just keep moving. Things that were once Hollywood exclusive.
Like Botox.
Yeah, Botox, fillers. Now they're discussed casually in the office lunchroom, considered very, very normalized.
Like getting a haircut or teeth cleaned.
Pretty much. And that blurring is dangerous. It mixes up basic grooming with actual medical procedures. It makes interventions with real risks and costs seem totally normal, even necessary.
It really makes you question the whole foundation.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the scam part again. Product effectiveness, product safety. Is skincare scam too strong?
Well, it's provocative, but some serious voices are asking that question, suggesting maybe no one really needs skincare beyond the absolute basics.
Whoa. In a multi-billion-dollar industry? That's radical. What's the thinking there?
It comes from reevaluating how skin actually works. Dr. James Hamlin wrote a book, Clean, arguing we need to rethink all our assumptions about soap and skincare.
Because of the skin microbiome, that ecosystem of bacteria on our skin.
Exactly. He argues that microbiome is crucial for skin health. It's our natural barrier. And constantly stripping it with harsh soaks, layering on synthetic products, it might be disrupting that balance, doing more harm than good.
So less is more. Let the skin do its thing.
That's the core idea. The skin, with its microbiome, is this amazing interface with the world. Maybe interfering less is better for its natural health.
And the idea that no serum goes that deep, is that part of it? That these expensive creams don't really change much fundamentally.
Precisely. Many products might give a temporary glow, some surface hydration, but can they really penetrate deep enough to make the profound, lasting changes they often claim? This perspective is skeptical.
So maybe a lot of the cost is for a feeling or a temporary look, not real deep change.
That's the argument. It challenges the value proposition of a lot of expensive, complex routines.
Okay, that's effectiveness. What about safety? We use this stuff every day. Let's talk fragrance. Sounds harmless, right?
Anything but. This is a huge public health concern. That word fragrance or parfum on a label, it's not one ingredient.
What is it then?
It's a loophole. It allows companies to hide potentially hundreds of undisclosed chemicals, many toxic.
Hundreds? Like what kind of chemicals?
Often petrochemical derivatives, things like benzene derivatives, aldehydes, phthalates, stuff linked to cancer, birth defects, hormone disruption, allergies. Some are even on the EPA's hazardous waste list.
And they don't have to list them. How is that legal?
It's protected as a trade secret. So consumers are kept completely in the dark about what they're absorbing through their skin directly into their bloodstream.
That's outrageous. So how could people avoid this?
Be really vigilant with labels and don't trust fragrance-free or unscented automatically.
Why not?
Because they might use masking agents, other chemicals to cover up smells. Sometimes these are even worse.
So what's the solution?
Look for companies that list every single ingredient. Total transparency. If it just says fragrance or parfum, that's a red flag. Assume it contains undisclosed chemical.
Okay, good tip. And fragrance isn't the only issue, right? Other hidden hazards.
No, there are others. Concerns about microplastics in scrubs washing into our water, microbial contamination in products, And broader environmental justice issues.
Meaning?
Meaning the pollution from manufacturing these chemicals often disproportionately affects marginalized communities. It's a systemic problem.
Wow, this conversation makes me want to throw out half my bathroom cabinet. It feels like the line between genuine care and just marketing hype is impossibly blurred.
It really is.
So how do we push back? How do we reclaim self-care so it actually means caring for ourselves, our well-being, not just chasing an external look?
I think the first step is critical. We have to distinguish genuine wellness from luxury.
Stop calling expensive treatment self-care.
Exactly. So much of this stuff is marketed that way. Facials, fillers, fancy manicures, but they are luxuries. They're discretionary spending. Conflating them with wellness justifies costs many can't actually afford.
Like getting your nails done every 2 weeks. It's nice, maybe, but it's not essential hygiene like brushing your teeth.
Precisely. Basic nail cleanliness doesn't cost $100 a month. A complex 14-step skincare routine isn't fundamental health. It's pursuing a specific aesthetic. We need to see these as choices, adornments, not necessities.
So if those aren't the pillars of well-being, what is? What actually makes a difference to our appearance naturally without spending a fortune?
It's almost laughably simple, but it's the stuff we always hear because it's true.
Like what?
A good diet, consistently, enough water, adequate sleep seriously, 7 to 9 hours for most adults, and daily movement, exercise.
The boring stuff.
The foundational stuff. It supports your body's natural processes, regeneration, circulation, hormones. That's what gives you healthy skin, hair, nails from the inside out. That natural glow isn't usually from a bottle.
It's the non-negotiables for actual health, which then shows on the outside.
Totally.
Okay, I like visualizing this. One source mentioned a self-care pyramid or like tiers of beauty maintenance. Can we break that down? It might help clarify things.
Yeah, that's a useful model. So at the absolute base, tier 1 is basic hygiene. Non-negotiable stuff. Showering, sleeping, eating decent food, just fundamental human upkeep.
Got it. Above that.
Tier 2, basic grooming. This is everyday skincare cleansing, moisturizing maybe. Basic makeup if you wear it. Washing your hair, brushing your teeth, maybe some whitening strips. Keeping nails clean and trimmed. Stuff most people do without huge cost or professional help.
Okay, still pretty standard. Then tier 3.
This is where it escalates. Professional beauty maintenance. Services you pay someone for regularly. Microblading, waxing, lash extensions, brow threading, spray tans, professional facials requires recurring appointments and cost.
Right. And tier 4.
Non-invasive treatments. Bigger interventions, usually medical oversight, cosmetic dentistry like veneers, chemical peels, and definitely injectables.
Right.
Botox fillers, more significant changes, higher costs, more risk.
And the top.
Tier 5, plastic surgery. The most invasive, highest risk, highest cost, so you have this clear hierarchy.
But the problem is social media smashes this pyramid flat.
Right. Exactly. It dangerously normalizes and blurs the lines. It pushes stuff from tiers 3 and 4, making them seem like they belong down in tier 2, like they're just basic grooming now.
Making Botox seem as normal as brushing your teeth.
Pretty much. It warps our perception of what's normal or necessary, driving people towards more expensive, riskier interventions.
Which underlines the need for critical consumption. We have to question this stuff.
Absolutely vital. Question the marketing that sells these pipe dreams of eternal youth. Realize that insecurity is often deliberately manufactured
To keep us buying.
to keep you a consistent and constant consumer. They don't profit if you're happy with yourself, sleeping well, and drinking water. Their model needs you to feel lacking.
So for you listening, what's the takeaway? Do your own research. Question the ads, the influencers. Think before you buy.
Yeah, push back against overconsumption. It's better for your wallet, your mental health, and the planet. Choose what actually serves you, not what an industry tells you you need.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows how complex and, often deceptive this whole modern beauty landscape is. We've gone from the viral appeal to the huge cost, money, time, psychological burden, all amplified by media and these intense social pressures.
And it highlights how luxury gets disguised as necessity, as self-care.
Right. And maybe true self-care looks totally different, like one source said. Maybe it's not worrying about aging.
Yeah, or not stressing about a 10-step routine. Maybe it's flossing, getting enough sleep, talking to real friends.
And crucially, paying your bills.
Yeah.
Having good credit, especially now.
Financial stability is self-care.
Yeah.
Being free from debt. That offers way more genuine well-being than any injection.
Definitely not the message you get scrolling through TikTok.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening to mull over.
Okay.
If real beauty, real self-worth comes from confidence, from self-acceptance, from actual well-being, not from external validation or chasing trends,
What shifts can you make? How can you approach beauty in a way that prioritizes your genuine self-care, your autonomy, over conforming to this demanding, expensive, maybe even harmful ideal? What does feeling beautiful actually mean to you on your own terms without all that noise?